Welcome back to PT's RC Need for Speed. This is One Lap, One Coke. This is the third straight week where we have had a drink that is not Coke. We didn't have Coke today, so we're going a lap and a root beer for PTs. Now you may notice in this video, the track is not looking so great right now. Just getting it all cut up, getting ready for the big PT's Point Series finale race this weekend. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today we are talking about the King of the Wings. We've been getting a lot of questions recently about the format, tires, different classes that's going on. So we're here to talk about the King of the Wings today.
Yeah, sounds good. We're pumped about it here at PT's. So looking forward to it. Think it's going to be a great race. So kind of getting ready for this weekend. Final leg of the Point Series. Right now we're sitting at $6,000 plus the entries of the final race. So going to be a good payout again this year. Kind of excited about these types of deals for us. These guys work their butts off to compete week in and week out, and they do a great job. So it's well deserving for them. So we're excited about it this weekend. Wrap that up, and then we're pushing on to the King of the Wings.
Oh yeah. So we've had a lot of questions about the format of the event. So just like we did last year, we have 2 sections. I'm just going to let you kind of explain that.
We got 4 classes, so we're running mod sprint, plus 50 sprint, 13.5 sprint, hobby wing 60 amp, just stock, speed control 13.5 motor, and we're running the midget class. So we're running 4 classes. My goal behind that is to give all of you out there the best possible track we can race on, conditions. It's kind of my main goal. This weekend is really about the sprint cars. It's been something we've been thinking about for quite a while, just having the sprint cars only. We had a special at the beginning of the year that was just a RC World 100 that ran phenomenally. Great praise on everything. The event went really smooth. So we're looking to do the same thing for sprint cars. We're looking to make a prestigious race, the Knoxville, if you will, of RC sprint cars. And you win this race, you done something. So that's kind of our goal in this. I know it was a hit with the World 100. We had a phenomenal race. As you know, you see on the videos, if you've been here in person, we have a true multiple groove track. I think you're going to see one of the best sprint car races you've ever seen in your life coming up for the King of the Wings. So, and that's our goal. So, format, it's a little different. Friday night, on the 22nd, we're going to run a practice all day, and then at 6 o'clock, we're going to do a seating round. Predominantly, that's going to be for the mod sprints. So the open mod sprints, you're going to get 4 minutes to do your top 5 consecutive. And what this is going to do, this is going to seed you from Group A to Group B. And what we're doing by this, if we get 40 sprint cars or 50 or 60 or whatever we get for this race, the top tier are going into the A group, the bottom tier are going into the B group. By doing this, it's going to let us get our heat races a lot more even, more consistent, so you don't have a guy that's off the pace by 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths. You're going to be racing with people more your own speed. Now, if you happen to qualify in the B group, it's not the end of the world. I mean, the B group guys, you're racing for a first, second, and third place trophy as well as the A group guys. So there's still just as much prestige in that as there is the A group guys. There's no difference really. So I think it breaks up and makes the racing better in that sense. So that's kind of what the A and B group deal is. Certainly, if you have questions, reply back to this. We'll try to answer everybody and help everybody along trying to understand my madness here. But I know for a fact last year we did A and B group. Probably one of the coolest things was I had a lot of guys in the B group actually come up to me and say, that was the best thing ever. I actually got to race, not having to worry of moving over and wrecking a fast guy or doing this or doing that. I actually got to race the way I know how to race. And to me, that meant a lot, and I think it says a lot about the program. It smooths it up all the way through, makes for better racing. Now, if you're in the B group and you win the B group, you have the option of collecting the first place trophy or going to the bottom tier of the A group and trying to bump up through the A group. That is your choice. That's a one and done. So if you win it, you have that option of bumping or getting your first place trophy. So I think that's a cool factor too. We did have our very first year, the King of the Wings, CJ Greaves bumped from, I don't even remember what main, but it was like the H main, and went on to win the King of the Wings the first year. So the fairy tale story has happened, and it could happen. So that option's still there for you. And then, of course, plus 50 sprints. You got to be 50 years old. You can only run plus 50 or mod sprint. You can't run both. And we have our reasons behind that. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but mostly time on the track, less laps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, better track conditions. So 13.5 sprint, I think we're going to get a pretty good crowd of them guys too, and the midgets as well. Day 2, we're going to run basically a whole new show. We start off practice only for, I think, 2 hours in the morning. I don't have everything in front of me. And then we're going to start a seeding round, 2 heat races, lower mains and mains that day. If you've raced here before at PTs, we don't mess around. We run a show as efficiently as it possibly can be ran. So we'll get you done and out of here in a timely manner. And I don't think we'll expect nothing less but some of the best sprint car racing action that we've ever had in here. So if you got questions on second day, I think we've got it posted with everything as far as the lineup for that second day, as far as heat races and laps and all that fun stuff. So, but certainly if you have questions, let us know.
Now, there's also been a lot of questions circling around on Facebook and to the website about the tires.
Yeah.
So if you've been to PTs before, we have a couple different tire options. You can run the new quasi-speed tires, or you can run sprinters. But King of the Wing is going to be a little bit different. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we decided to go quasi-speed tires only. And there's a lot of reasons behind it. Personally, watching the evolution of this tire, not just from being, from start to finish, but what it does to the track. I think the quasi-speeds for this track conditions are optimal for that. And I think somebody traveling in, I know tires like a big voodoo thing, like you think there's magic in tires and there's really not. A quasi-speed tire, honestly, right out of the bag hooks up, and you're not going to be chasing your tail wondering if it's the car or the tires. The tires work. So, so that's my other big thing is you don't have 2 tires, you have a 1 tire game, and tires I don't think are going to cost you a race in this type of a scenario. So you bolt these things on, and you just go. They're going to hook up and run good. I love Sprinter tires too. Sprinters have one of those deals where you have to choose the correct pin at the right time on this track, and I'm purely thinking about our track, not like a national thing where I'm thinking about this track right here, and there's definitely some magic to what pin height to run on a Sprinter. The quasis, there's not so much of that, so I think it's going to help traveling guys a lot more, get up to speed a lot quicker. So, and I know a lot of people out there in Facebook world or whatnot are like, he's crazy, their tires make a big difference. Well, they don't. The quasi tire just fires up and you don't have to do a lot to them. So I think you'll get up to speed a lot faster this way. So, but I think overall it's just how they perform on the track as far as they don't rut quite as much and some things of that nature. So that's the big decision. So
the other thing that we've had kind of a lot of questions coming around about is the midget class.
Yeah.
And it's a newer class, so there's still some lumps getting worked out.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. I've seen some stuff, and again, I base I base most of my decision on my track, and my track here at PT's is a little different. It's a little more unique. We have a different scenario than most tracks out there. I mean, with the multi-groove racing, my first decision, I went to 10.5 motors, and everybody's out there like, well, why Tom ruffling a boat? You know, the biggest reason is you have a top groove, you have a middle groove, you have a bottom groove. And with the 13.5 in here at this particular track, they're just honestly a little bit slow. I think having that little bit more power with the 10.5, you've got an option to run a second or third line that makes the racing more interesting and fun. The other thing I've done that isn't in the national rules or whatnot is I am allowing brass on the rear hubs. You can run brass front spindles as well. And a lot of people don't agree with me on that. I make my decision based off of this track only, not a national scene. It's based off of in here. And if you have or have not raced in here, you know the track starts off loose, loose dirt conditions, and then it progresses to, I wouldn't even say high bite. It's kind of like a polished off track. It does slow down as the day goes on. And that brass helps out a lot of people. This whole brass thing isn't intended for you fast guys out there. It's more intended for I don't want to say a newbie, but a less experienced person to handle that car a little bit better. They are edgy to drive. I've never drove a real midget. My size prohibits that. So, but what I can imagine them to really drive like in real life is how these things drive. So they're on edge, super fun class. But with our track in here, the brass is definitely going to help a lot of guys out. So those are the people I'm looking out for. Those are the guys that support me week in and week out, and just trying to look out for them the best I can. So I have my beliefs on it. A lot of people have other beliefs. Kind of a cool thing we had happen recently, and I think it was our last points race, if I'm not mistaken. Jeff Schindler won that midget race, and Jeff Schindler rolls in here with a 13.5 stock motor, and he had no brass on, no nothing, and he kicked everybody's butt. So it's not saying you have to have all that stuff to be fast. Jeff come in here and just was super smooth with that car and took it to everybody. So case in point right there, you don't have to have it if you don't want to. It's just on a weekly basis, the brass is what we're going to run, and that's what we're running for this program. So there is a couple other things. We'll do a little insert on the top of the rear cage. I am going to allow you to do a little bit of what I call a brace back there. If you've seen these midgets run, you know that when they touch wheels or whatnot, it's kind of like a real car. They actually gain speed when they start flipping. So the cages, you know, take a little bit of abuse. Main reason we're adding this little doohickey to the top of the cage is just for cage reinforcement, so you don't have to replace the halos on the cages quite so much. I think I got 10 halos that are broken there, and maybe none to the fault of myself, but you know, and a couple other guys that run our cars. But it's still, I think that little piece will save you a cage part that's unnecessarily. So, but we'll put a little clip in on that as well. Yep. But all in all, I think we're really looking forward. I think we're going to have a stellar field of cars here for the King of the Wings. I have no doubt we're going to see some of the best RC sprint car action in the country right here go down. So we're super pumped. Another thing we've got is Paul, the P of the PTs. He's working on a trophy right now. We're almost wrapped up with it, so we'll do a highlight reel on it. And I think, as many of you know, when you see this, the wow factor's in it. It's going to be pretty special. But so the first place trophy for the mod sprinters, you're going to be going for some hardware you've never seen anywhere before. It's pretty impressive. So we're super pumped about that. But yeah, we're just excited about it. Shoot us a message. One lap, one root beer. It's been good. So I don't know, kind of fun stuff.
Had our root beers. Thank you for tuning in to PT's RC Need for Speed. Like Tom said, if you got any questions, you can message them on Facebook, go through the website, or you can leave any questions in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe for more information and updates. See you next time.
All right, back with the midget class. Talking about the rear wicker bill area. So as you can see from this cage, the Mopar ride of Paul's, what we've done is just cut a piece of Lexan to go across the back. What this really does is just stiffen that rear halo up to create less breakage on these halo bars right there. Obviously you got your front visor up here. We've just done the same thing back here. This is kind of what you're limited to, kind of follow the cage around. This is about all you need to really stiffen this up just enough to take a little bit of that flex out to keep from snapping that. So this is what's allowed. No doohickeys inside, no flat, wind deflection devices. On my car personally, I had a lot of people in an uproar because I plated this whole top in. But if anybody that can look, it's actually dished or cupped like this. It was really no aero advantage or anything. I was just tired of breaking these parts, so I put it on there. So probably created a little bit of controversy there. But this is what is allowed back here. This and this only. It can't be 2 foot long back here. It's got to stop at the end of the cage and follow the halo cage around here. But literally, guys, this is all it really takes to stiffen this to where you have less breakage of that. So kind of a smart idea.